In a world full of bad news, this podcast is a source of good news, real talk, and real inspiration. On this show, you'll hear stories of growth, legacy, and entrepreneurship. Everyday people who overcome real challenges to build something meaningful. My name is Stephen Padernacht, third generation Bronx-born and raised in the real estate game. This is the Padernacht Podcast, brick by brick. Today, I'm joined by someone who's rewriting the blueprint for independent filmmaking, Will La Salle. Born and raised in the Bronx, Will spent years working as a school safety agent and a New York City correction officer before flipping the script entirely. He now leads LaSalle Productions, putting out one film a year, including his latest, The Veteran, and a previous project submitted to BET and Paramount. He's been featured on Fox 5's Good Day Street Talk and Fox 35 Orlando. He's quickly becoming the face of independent filmmaking in Westchester. Even Bret the Hitman Hart sent him a personal video shout-out for his work, which, as two Bronx wrestling heads, hits a little different. Will's mission? To break the stigma around indie film and put the Bronx, Yonkers, and Westchester on the map, one project at a time. He's collaborating with Mayor Mike Spano, partnering with Liongate's Great Point Studios, and creating new lanes for actors and creatives to thrive locally. We're going to talk about the grind for breakthroughs, the real moments behind the scenes, and of course we get into wrestling, legacy, and what it takes to keep going when the path is not laid out for you. This is a conversation about art, ambition, and showing up. So tell me, Will, you hear all that about you. What are you feeling?
I always say, and I'm going to sound very repetitive when I say this, but I always say that I am an ordinary man just trying to do extraordinary things. That is exactly who I am. Just a kid from the Bronx who had a dream and had the courage to pursue it. A lot of people look at me and they're like, man, you know, you're all over TV. How do you feel? So I feel like a regular guy. I get in my Uber and I go back home and I go to work like everybody else.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's just where I'm at. I am just pursuing my dreams. That's all this is. I had this dream back in 2019, and I knew from a very young age that I wanted to make films. I just didn't know how to do them. And so I had no resources. And so what I always say is when you lack resources, you tend to become very resourceful. And so for me, it was about creating films that would resonate with everyone. When I started making films, my wife thought I was crazy because I said, listen, I'm going to make films. She's like, you're crazy, you're out of your mind. Bought $10,000 worth of camera equipment, didn't know how to use it, didn't go to film school, certainly didn't have any experience using any of these cameras, and just started learning, watching YouTube videos. And then fast forward, 7 films in 7 years.
You did or you did not go to film school?
I did not go to film school.
So you legit taught yourself how to become a filmmaker?
Yep, absolutely. No film school, no college, just a high school diploma, and just a kid from the projects with a dream. That's all I am. Like when I tell people that, they just, you know, they look at me and they're like, man, yeah, that's who I am.
That's like the epitome. That is the epitome of being self-taught.
Self-taught.
You know, I'm a big history buff, right? So Abraham Lincoln, I don't know if you know this, but he taught himself law. Like he was born and raised, I believe it was Kentucky, and he found a bunch of books in somebody's house, and he read those books, and he taught himself how to become a lawyer. And then obviously he went on to become the president of the United States. So it always hits different for me when I hear somebody tell me that they actually taught themselves how to do things. A lot of filmmakers go to film school and they get taught that. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn how to do it. And for you ended up going out there and doing it on your own.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for me. I mean, a lot of people go different routes. I don't knock anyone for going to film school, but I didn't have that option. For me, I grew up very poor. So that wasn't something I saw myself being able to afford and do. So I was like, all right, well, I want to do these things. How do I become great at it? And I think that what separates me from everyone else is the fact that I'm just obsessed. Like filmmaking is not a hobby for me, it's my life. And I tell people that. My wife thinks I'm out of my mind, and that's fine. The world thinks I'm out of my mind. But people like myself are the people who usually change the world because they think they can, and so they do.
I tell people all the time that like obsession is something that you have to be if you want to be successful in any field. And there is a small percentage of people in this world that are obsessed with things. And to your point, they're the ones that usually end up changing the world. So I applaud you for that.
Oh, thank you.
I want to touch on something, just kind of going back to the beginning, right? So we're both from the Bronx.
Yes,
right?
we are both from the Bronx.
181 in Bryant Ave.
Yes, 181st Bryant Avenue in Lambert Houses, which is Phipps Houses Development. I grew up right across the street from the Bronx Zoo.
Okay, so what was life like growing up there?
It was rough. I mean, it was a lot of crime. It was a lot of drugs. It was a lot of people doing the wrong things. It was very hard to find a role model. And so my mother used to keep me inside the house because she was afraid that, you know, it would be gunshots, and it was gunshots every night. So growing up like that, I was very kept inside the house. And so because of that, all I had was film. I used to just watch movie after movie after movie. And that just became the drive for me. My mother worked 2 jobs. She went to Bronx Community College. My sister took care of me. And we really had nothing growing up. I mean, when I tell you my mother struggled, we struggled. Public assistance, you know, no silver spoon in my mouth. So I'm no stranger to hardship.
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward, it was rough because, you know, the cops were always in the building. And I said to myself, well, this can't be my life. I knew from a very young age. I said, this is not going to be my life. I have to be the change. I have to change things. And once I get older and I have the power to do so, I'm going to do that. And so, yeah, I worked for the NYPD School Safety Division. I was an NYPD School Safety agent for years, went to New York City Corrections. So I have about 17 years of law enforcement experience.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up leaving, but before that, I was still making films. And I said, you know, I'm going to just do this. Like, this is not my room. I was in a room full of people. I would go inside and feel alone, feel like, you know what, this is not where I need to be. You ever felt like that?
Yeah. So this, in a room, you're talking about like when you were a corrections officer or when you were...
Correct. Like, anytime, like, listen, and I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not sitting here saying I'm better than anybody. What I'm saying is that sometimes your calling is greater. Sometimes you can't be around low frequency people. Sometimes, you know, I hear people make excuses. Oh, I can't go to the gym. Dude, I'm up at 3:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Like, I'm running. I'm working out. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't even want to be around people like that because it's just draining.
Of course.
And it's infectious to what I'm doing. And so for me, it's more of being around good people, being around like-minded people, being around creators, being around people who want to better themselves. And I just knew for me, it was going to be a long road. So I started making these films. 2019, 2020, we put out Hilo. 2021, we put out Hilo 2. 2022, we put out Graves. 2023 was Hilo 3. 24 was Oculus. 25 was Security Guard. 26 would be The Veteran.
These films, did you get any influence from growing up in the community that you grew up in? Is that what kind? I know you said that you were in the house and watching a lot of films. Was there like one film that kind of sparked it? And your environment growing up, does that come out in some of your films?
Well,
and the experiences that maybe you might have had as a kid.
Well, not really one particular film, but my favorite film of all time is Rocky IV.
Okay.
And so for me,
if he dies.
A lot of the training montages, a lot of that had me like really hyped up. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Rocky comes inside and his license plate says Southpaw, and Adrian tells him after Apollo dies, she tells him, you can't win. That was my moment when people told me, you're a filmmaker. You know, you want to be a filmmaker. You want to make these films. You make $27,000 a year as a school safety agent when I first started. And what I realized is, and I tell everyone this, if you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. They'll kill your dream. They'll kill it quick.
Absolutely.
And so I learned that I'm not going to tell anybody anything. I'm going to show the world who I am. I'm going to show the world that Wilfrid LaSalle was the greatest independent filmmaker in the world. And it doesn't matter who stands against it. It doesn't matter what people think. Hey, this guy, who is he to call himself the greatest? I'm going to show the world. And that's that. And I am. And my actors that work with me, and just the success that we've had, you know, being on major news networks, getting all the notoriety that we've gotten. That's all hard work. That's the hard work that the actors put in. So I can't sit here and say it's just me.
Of course
it's a collaborative unit.
Yeah.
I am very successful because of the actors that I have. They are everything. They are the reason why I am successful. And so I am forever grateful to all of them. They dedicate their time, their energy, their craft. People think acting is easy. It's not.
No, well, I surely don't think it is. Even just doing what we just did out there, I was thinking about, like, did I hit the right spot?
Yeah. Oh, but I mean, listen, I always say I'm a terrible actor. I always say I'm better behind the camera. And the actors that I work with pretty much agree with that. But it's just, for me, it's coming together for something greater than ourselves. I think that when you are creating something unique and special, I think that it takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of passion. And I always tell people like, Will, like, I want to be in your films. I'm like, are you willing to be on set for 15 hours, unpaid? literally. And they're like, I didn't know. Yeah, that's how long a scene takes. So like, it looks good on TV.
Yeah.
It looks good, but the work that's being done behind the scenes. I mean, you're talking about giving up your summers, no time with my wife, nothing. I am a slave to this, but I love it. I can't complain because filmmaking is my gift to the world. And I realized that. And I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I don't need anyone's permission to pursue my dreams. I'm done being a square trying to fit into a triangle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it was more of that. And people look at me, they're like, man, you know, like you look like this guy who's just like all about himself. I'm like, no, I'm actually a guy who actually cares about social issues. I'm a guy who cares about the community. I'm a guy who's advocating for creatives. We just had that partnership with Mayor Spano. We're having our second meeting now, and that's going to launch the Yonkers Film and Creative Partnership Committee, which is going to be awesome.
And that's, what is it, Hollywood on the Hudson?
It's Hollywood on the Hudson. So Mayor Spano was leading the forefront on that. We just had the meeting. NBC4 covered it.
The studio's there, correct?
So the studio's in Great Point Studios.
Gotcha.
Great Point Studios is with Lionsgate.
And that's in Yonkers right now.
In Yonkers on the
water,
Hollywood
right by
on the
the
Hudson.
waterfront.
Yes, right on the waterfront.
Gotcha.
So we're having our second meeting now. We're working out the logistics of that. What that's going to do is give actors an opportunity to work with Lionsgate. So instead of them doing background and being pedestrian number 4, they're going to have principal roles. Or at least I'm fighting and advocating for them to have that. Because, listen, I always say, why can't the greatest actors, why can't the greatest independent filmmaker come from the Bronx?
No, well,
why does he have to come from L.A.?
Are there any great filmmakers from the Bronx that you that you would particularly point to and say, like, you know, they made it? Anybody you can think of?
From the filmmakers from the Bronx, I would say, no, not really filmmakers from the Bronx. I say, I mean, who's from the Bronx? You got actors. You got Tracy Morgan.
Okay.
You got, what's the guy who played Sonny in Bronx Tale?
Chaz
Palminteri. He's from the Bronx.
Yeah. Well, he's actually also a director too.
He's a director. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
You know what? I've never seen any of his actual films that he directed. I've seen the films he's been in.
Yeah, well, I think he directed Bronx Tale.
Chaz Palminteri directed?
I think so.
Really?
I think.
Yeah, it was Broadway. I don't think he did the actual film.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, I would say,
You know who my go-to is? New York City, Spike Lee.
Spike Lee.
He's from Brooklyn.
Right.
From Brooklyn, but like he's a filmmaker from the city that like you could really point to and be like, he gets it, and he really is able to put into his films that gritty sort of feeling of New York City.
Right. I mean, listen, I've watched a lot of films. I've watched. We can go on and on. I mean, I'm a big Stallone guy.
Yeah, I could tell.
Big Stallone guy. I love Stallone. I love his story.
Are you watching Tulsa King right now?
I am not. I have not seen Tulsa King.
Man.
I actually got to see it.
You gotta get on
I'm more of an old school like Cobra. Marion Cobretti when he's pulling up in the old. What's that Mercury? What was that Mercury called? Was that? That's not a Cougar. I forgot what it was. The old. He's like, crime is a disease, meet the cure.
I was a big Stallone. Obviously, growing up, the Rambo films obviously stand out. The Rocky films stand out. Rocky V obviously is the throwaway, right?
Well,
depending on who you speak to.
Well, I think Rocky VI wasn't that good either. But Antonio Tarver. It's called Rocky Balboa.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, so, Balboa.
But five he even said was his worst film.
I actually enjoyed 6 kind of because he reconciled with his kid. And then it's amazing how he showed up in that shape after all those years, right?
He was, what, 60? I think we were 60
Something
years old
like that. Yeah, I mean, but 5 is the throwaway, right? For me, personally.
Right. It was probably the worst film that he's made in the Rocky series, although people didn't like 3. I love 3.
3 was Mr. T.
Mr. T. Clubber
Lang. Out of your
mind.
Mind.
Hulk Hogan, Thunder Lips.
You're out of your mind. 3 was amazing. What was
a lot of people.
3?
Well, he said that his life. When I read what he wrote, I think it was on a magazine or something like that. He said that 3 was basically his life. Like Rocky 1 and 2, he was very hungry. And then once he got the fame, he kind of like slowed down. That's why he loses to Clubber Lang, and he's doing all these commercials for American Express. He kind of loses himself to fame instead of the goal of fighting and being the greatest.
Did Mickey die in 3?
Mickey dies in 3.
Mickey dies in 3, right?
Mickey dies in 3.
Right before the fight that he loses to Clubber.
During, he has the heart attack.
Yeah, he has a heart attack before he can't go out with him, and then he ends up dying. Yeah, now 3 was awesome.
Oh yeah.
4 was cool.
4 is my favorite.
4 was cool. If he dies, he dies.
Yeah. Just the whole montage. Bill Conti did the entire soundtrack for that.
When he's running through the snow and he's got the log on his shoulders.
I love that. I watch that to this day. When I'm working out, I'll just watch that, and
The Rocky IV soundtrack is no joke.
Oh, everything. Yeah, everything about it. Everything. The filmography, the cinematography. I think they filmed that in Utah.
Really?
Yeah, they filmed that in a park in Utah somewhere.
Surely wasn't in Russia. I
No, it wasn't in Russia. Even the beard was fake. That's
Was
funny.
it really?
Yeah, it was fake.
That's sad to hear.
I loved it. I love everything about it. I actually, it's funny. I love the movie so much. I went and bought the same and tried to buy the same jacket. I still have the jacket. And
The one with like the fur on the top.
Yeah, I have that jacket. I love it.
I was when I was a kid, one of my favorite movies was Top Gun.
Oh yeah, I just saw the second one. No, they're making a third.
Are they making a third?
Making a third. Yeah. The second one was awesome.
Yes, Maverick.
Maverick
for
was
sure.
Awesome.
And so me and my cousin, we were young. We were probably like, I don't know, man, whatever year it was. We were like 6, 7 years old, and he lived out in Oklahoma, and he had these 2 bomber jackets. So every day we'd go out in the summer wearing these bomber jackets in like 100-degree weather. And one day I'd be Maverick, he'd be Goose. Next day he'd be Maverick, I'd be Goose. Like that movie. That movie really stands out. And for me, movies, for some people, they can just sit there, watch a movie and not feel nothing.
Right.
I feel like the good filmmakers are able to make you leave the theater or ending the movie feeling something and wanting to take action, whether it's change the world or get yourself in better conditioning or shape or whatever it may be.
Yeah, that's why I think we accomplished that with the security guard. The security guard now is at over 1 million views.
Nice.
So
nice.
we have people from all different Facebook groups. They are reaching out to me. I had so many messages about the film and how it impacted people.
The security guard was the one that you released this year.
This year, correct? 2025. So the film came out in March, and it's still doing great. It's on Fox Soul.
I saw the trailer for it.
You saw? Yeah, it's 3 of them. Which one did you see?
I saw the
one?
second one.
Okay.
I believe it was because I was on your Instagram and then I YouTubed you or whatever. But I saw the second one. So let me ask you a question: how do you come up with that sort of concept? Right, all of your films, correct me if I'm wrong, have some sort of social aspect to it. Correct?
No, not all. Just the last 2.
Okay.
So the other ones that I've done before Security Guard were just passion projects, films that I always loved. Like the film Graves. 2022, people arguably to this day is still one of my greatest action films.
Really?
And that film is a combination of Michael Mann's Heat, Den of Thieves, The Town, it's a heist movie.
Yep. Okay.
And
Love
Point Break.
Heist movie.
Point Break.
Yep.
Took a lot of inspiration from Point Break.
Old school.
And even if you ask my cast now, they'll tell you Graves is still your best action flick. Really? And I'm like, I can't disagree with them on that. But what I wanted to do was start getting serious about filmmaking in the sense of, in order to separate myself from everyone else that's doing the same thing, there are 3 things that I need to do. I need to stand out with what I'm doing, which is creating films about social advocacy. I need to create films that are high-quality films with a $0 budget, which is almost impossible to do. And so that's why I taught myself how to film, because I knew that no one had the vision of how I wanted these films to be shot. I had it all here, and I needed to put that out there. And conveying that to a cinematographer would be very hard for me because only I see what I see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
The third thing is being obsessively driven to succeed in what I'm doing. And I think that what I'm doing now just speaks volumes. It's changing the world. And so I said to myself, okay, look, I have to stand out. I have to start doing what's different. Like, what is A24 doing? Okay. I look at all these different independent filmmakers.
I was about to say, what's A24?
A24 is a big number one, the biggest independent company in the world. I'm coming for them. Don't worry, we're coming for them. And I said to myself, I see all these, I have different actors who work with different people, and I'm not going to knock anybody's work because I'm sure I could use a lot of upgrading on things that I do. But there's no competition for me other than A24. If I look at any other independent filmmaker on the East Coast right now, they simply don't compare to LaSalle Productions. And I'm not saying that because it's the good thing to say. I'm saying this is the truth. What I am doing is revolutionizing independent filmmaking. And what that means is pioneering a path of how to be successful. When people look at me and they look me up and they say, Wilfred LaSalle, this guy came in here with nothing and came on, got on major news networks, came in, made these films about social issues. He succeeded in what he did, and people are going to copy and paste that. But the reality is that you have to do the work. A lot of people want overnight success. It took me 6 years of filmmaking for people to recognize a security guard. So although it's my 6th film, to the world, it's my first film.
Was the security guard the? Do you think that it was because it had that social aspect or the social injustice aspect that really got the notoriety that it did?
I think it's a lot of things. I think it was the fact that it was a father and daughter's relationship that was very intimate for anyone who has children. It was the issue of gun violence and mass school shootings. We continue to have these across America.
Unfortunately.
That was huge, regardless if you're a Democrat or Republican or independent.
Yep.
The goal of that film was to unite all political parties. That was my objective there. Now, that and then telling a great story with great cinematography and great acting was a recipe for success. And so that film is what really put me on the mark. All of the actors that were in that film contributed to something great. So I am not going to sit here and say, it was just me, my vision. No. The actors made that film great. They trusted me. They gave me their time, and it's a huge success.
How long does it take to start and finish filming? How long does it take to shoot and film one of your films?
So I usually write my scripts around, I would say, January till about maybe May.
Okay.
And then June, we start filming every year till about November, December. Now, so you're talking about 6 months, right? Was that 6 months?
June to
And we film only on weekends.
5-6 months, yeah.
And then you're talking about post-production, which is now taking place from November, from the moment we wrap, till about March.
And you said you only shoot on weekends. Is that because of
scheduling with work and everything?
Because independent contractor, independent film, you don't have a huge budget, obviously. But
we have no budget, at all. So
so wait, you are the budget essentially.
I am the budget.
You're the one who's paying for all this.
Yes. So what people don't understand is, what are you willing to give up? Right? I've gone through bankruptcy. I mean, I've been on the brink of divorce, in debt, financial peril, down to my last dollar to make these films. So a lot of people look at me and they're like, oh man, they don't see that side.
I want to just probably correct you, and maybe I'm right or wrong, but you said down to your last dollar. I'm sure you've probably gone into debt.
Oh, serious.
Putting money on your credit cards to try to get stuff. Yeah.
Severe debt to pay
So when you say you're down to your last dollar, I don't think people really understand the magnitude of that.
Right.
Like, you've actually probably, I would imagine that you've gone into debt to make your dream happen.
Well, yeah. I mean, even getting the locations. People are like, how are you filming in churches? How are you filming in schools? How are you filming in businesses? What do you think that takes? It takes money.
Are you hiring somebody to get these locations, or is it like
just me?
I was just about to ask that question, right? So, like, you had mentioned before, like, going on Good Day, Street Talk, and all these different shows. I was going to ask, like, do you have a PR team?
No, I am the PR team. I'm the team.
You're the location scout?
This is it. Yeah, this is it. This is the guy right here. One guy, one man, one vision, one mission to be the greatest.
People don't understand that, man. They don't really understand. Because, like, they see you on TV. They see you on these talk shows, and they see you in Orlando and here and there. But
it takes money. A lot of people don't realize you got to pay for your flight. They're not flying me out.
I was about to say,
I got to get my suit dry cleaned, have a new suit, have everything pressed, have a haircut. That takes money. Taking Ubers to and from the studio, paying for hotels. People are like, dude, like you make it look so easy. I'm like, yeah, but I'm paying for it. Like, so when people are like, oh man, I see you on TV. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm not a celebrity. I'm not. It's just the reality of it. Yep. My wife doesn't certainly think so. So, I mean, it's one of these things where you have a drive, you love what you do. Like I said, people only see the beauty of what I'm doing. They don't see the stress. They don't see me being a slave to that laptop every day, editing, working on God knows what, how many projects. They don't see the debt. They don't see any of it. They don't see the sacrifice. I'm failing more times than I'm succeeding. That's the reality. I am being rejected more times than people see me on TV. I am losing more than I'm winning. That's the reality. Yep. So although, on Instagram, it looks glorified. Oh, yeah, look, he's doing great. Yeah, dude, but I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work to be that person.
Instagram is pretty much just a highlight reel.
It really is. It doesn't.
There's no other way to put it.
Everyone puts the best versions of themselves on there
that they want the world to see.
And I'm very flawed. I have a lot to work on.
I think we all are, and we all need to understand that we're very flawed.
I am very open to that. Like I tell my wife, I am still a work in progress. There's plenty of things I need to work on in my personal life and in business as a whole. But one thing that is true to who I am is my heart, what I believe in, how I treat people, how I love my actors, how I advocate for them, the opportunities I give them, and they will speak highly to that. And I think that a great leader leads, and that's what I'm doing here.
What's the biggest risk you've taken so far to either to finish a film or in the filmmaking business?
I had to film The Veteran in 2 months, and it was because something was happening in my life, and that film would have taken 6 months, 2 months. We had to film that. That was hard. That was probably the hardest thing I had to do. So Veteran was shot from May and wrapped, I would say April, end of April. We finished June 25th. That was rough.
And it was rough in the sense that I imagine longer days.
We were shooting 7 scenes a day.
Yeah.
On the weekends. On Saturday would be 7 scenes. Sundays 8 scenes or 5 or 6.
And how many actors do you have randomly in a scene? I know obviously there's some just 2, but I would imagine there's a lot of different people that you have to organize to film one scene.
Well, it depends what I'm filming, but on a normal day, like on a normal scene, if it involves, like with the Veteran, if it involves like the hedge fund partner scenes, we had 5, 6 guys on set, but they're good. You know, I work with these guys. They know what to do. They're professionals. It doesn't take much. Like they trust my leadership. They trust my directing. They are very grateful to what I'm doing, and it's a family. That's really what it is. And the thing is that I always tell people, like, if you want to lose your mind, deal with some actors. I've been fortunate enough to have some great actors, and I've been unfortunate to have some terrible ones. But you know, they weed themselves out. And so for me, I don't need the headaches. I am one man running 50,000 things at once. Yep. So it's easy to burn out. I think that for me is like taking a break. I don't know when to take a break. So I'm always like foot on the gas, just going 200 miles an hour. My wife is like, dude, like you're almost 40 years old. Like what the hell is going on here? I'm like, listen, it's either now or never. And because I'm, you know, I don't want to say I'm old, but I'm getting up. I'm older. And it's harder for us to keep that level, to keep that same pace.
Well,
so
the recovery phase.
Right. So if I'm shooting 7 scenes the night before, I'm waking up at 5 a.m. to shoot another 7. I'm depleted.
I seem to remember 40-year-olds being older when I was a kid.
Right, yeah, I know. The older I get, the older becomes.
Right, like when I was a kid, like I remember like somebody was 40 years old and I was like, damn, they're old. And now being 44, I'm just like, wait a second. I'm just kind of like stepping into my...
Well, you don't look 44. You look great.
Thank you.
I did not think you were 44. I thought you were about my age, 39. So that's good.
Appreciate that. All right, so the risk of having to shoot that in 2 months, what happens if you would have failed in that moment?
Then it would have delayed the film. And I always want to produce a film a year. That is my goal. It's 10 films in 10 years. And it would have been catastrophic because you're scheduling actors that are flying in from LA. I have actors who are just not local. They're in Pennsylvania. They're in Oregon. They're in Boston. It's a lot. My wife helps me with the scheduling, so I'm lucky to have her because she's very organized, which is something I'm working on. I am organized, but I'm not as organized as my wife. But it's hard because you have different characters, different personalities you're dealing with. You have different actors that have different needs or wardrobes and stuff like that. So that presents its own set of challenges in itself. But like I said, it's more of working around that stress. Plus, when we're shooting it outside, there's no control over those environments. So if people are in your shots, they're in your shots. They're, you know, you have noise, car noise. It was crazy because we were filming in Times Square. And actually, when we were filming The Veteran, we had the actor who plays Jose Torres. We had members of the public come in, and they were outraged. They started like actually filming us because one of the scenes, I don't know if you've seen the trailer, where one of the characters was like filming and putting money but taking the money back. Did you see that trailer? I did not see that trailer, no. So it triggered a lot of people. They didn't see the camera. They actually went after the actor. Really? They were going to attack him. He ran behind me. He was like, listen, Will, let them know it's fake. It's not. They thought it was like a TikToker doing it for clout. And he almost, Mike DeSimone is a good buddy of mine. And he can attest to the story. And it was crazy. The actor who was playing the homeless the homeless character in the film, Yanko Valentin Perez, he never broke character. He stayed. So he was sleeping. He was on the trains. He put all his clothing that he was wearing for the film in and dirtied it up. Really? He's a great method actor. He was all in. And people were just like shouting at me, yelling at me, how dare you be insensitive? So I stopped. I had to cut. I came over to the lady. I said, listen, this is exactly what I wanted. She's looking at me. She's like, wow, for you. Yeah. I'm like, I'm Will La Salle. I'm a filmmaker. We're doing a film on social issues. This is the homeless epidemic we're discussing here. Yeah. She was just like, what do you mean? I'm like, he's an actor. Yeah. Like, no, he's not. I'm like, yeah, he is. This is a camera. She's like, I didn't even see that. But that's what we wanted because he was invisible to society until I put a camera on him. And then he was seen by the world. So that's the mantra. That's what we wanted to do with the film. We wanted to trigger people. And it is. The film is really, really rough to watch. A lot of the things that you're going to see happen to him, rough. Because the villain in the film is not your typical protagonist, antagonist kind of film. Society. Society's the villain.
It's society, yeah. That is, do you think that, like, how did you come up with the ideas for these specific, right? So the veteran and like these movies, how do you come up with the ideas for the social subject matter?
Well, a lot of it is my life experience. I mean, if I'm
school shootings is super sensitive. I'm sorry to cut you off,
Yeah,
but school shootings is a super sensitive topic.
Right, it is.
And there's so many different things going on in this world right now. How did you come up and pick that one?
Well, I always wanted to make a film about an NYPD school safety agent. I always thought working that job, people always look down on me for it. They always, you don't have a gun. You're not a real cop.
Oh, toy cop.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was always in me. Okay, cool. Well, there's never been a film made like that. There's never been a film highlighting what school safety agents do. It's like making a film called The Librarian, right? No one's going to make a film because it's not interesting. It's just not important. He doesn't have a gun. We see all these cop movies. We see all these glorified detective shows. And I said, all right, well, who's going to advocate for the ordinary man? Who's going to tell the story? All right, I live this. This is my life. Mm-hmm. But I said, okay, I'm going to make a film about school safety agent. I'm going to dive into this. I'm going to put bits and pieces of my life in that film, which is true. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, well, we're going to make the film about mass school shootings. And a lot of it was just telling the story of Amari Russell, but telling the story of my life. So that basically coincides. So Amari Russell and me, Will La Salle, are basically very similar. The only difference is I'm not a parent.
Okay.
And what I wanted to do was really highlight the work that he had done. And it's easy to go the route of having a single mother with a child. We've seen that how many times in America. So, and look, I wanted to actually show that in the African-American community that their fathers are present. I wanted to break those stigmas in the Black community. That was important to me to do that, to convey that to the audience. On top of that, making him a single father from Brooklyn, making him very active in his daughter's life, I thought that was really awesome because we never really highlight the great work that single fathers do. There are so many single fathers in the world, and it's overlooked because it's mostly, oh, no, single mothers. And listen, I came from a single mother home, and I wanted to highlight that. It was important for me to just tell that story, break those stigmas, break those narratives. And that's where Omari came in. But no one's made a film about a school safety agent because no one cared enough to make it because it wasn't important enough. Yeah. It wasn't juicy. It wasn't highlighted. It wasn't glorified. It wasn't this big Hollywood production. So I said, you know what? If it doesn't exist, I got to create it. And that's where that came from.
And then the veteran, right? For me personally, I think that veterans don't get enough credit in this country.
At all.
And I don't know how veterans are viewed in other countries, but in this country, I feel like veterans, like, I always look at it and I say to myself, like, everybody is on social media complaining. Everybody is walking through their daily life complaining, but they don't understand that the veterans are the ones that give them that right. Like, they legit chose to put their life on the line for the freedoms that we sit here and complain about.
Correct.
So you chose to that subject matter, and without giving away too much of the film, what is the general theme of the film? It's somebody who comes back from war, and tell me just a little bit about that.
So with Jose Torres, although it's about a U.S. Marine, the story is going to incorporate all branches of military. Okay. It's not just his story, it's all branches, their story. When we look at veterans as a whole, they come home post-deployment to get another battlefield. They're denied health care. They're denied benefits from the VA. They're put on prescription medications because they label them as having PTSD. Every time they go to war, it's PTSD. That's the biggest label they give you. When everybody hears a military film or they talk about veterans, the first stigma is PTSD. Always. And we have to change that because
Well, dude, society in general is now just a society of just like, oh, they must have mental health issues. They must have this. Right. They must have that. And PTSD, people give PTSD that label to almost damn near anybody who goes through anything traumatic. And yes, I think mental health is an extremely serious issue, but I feel like society as a whole is kind of gone the direction of like, all right, let's just give them medication.
Right. That's the answer to everything is medication.
Yep.
So what happens is Jose Torres, the film takes place during 9/11.
Okay.
And it flashes back. A lot of it is his life as a U.S. Marine. He gets hurt during a mission in Iraq. He's prescribed opioids. He tries his best to not take the opioids, but we all know how that works. Mm-hmm. Anyone who's been injured, anyone who's had a back injury, I've spoken to so many different people before I made the film about how they got addicted to opioids. And it's very easy. People think, oh, it can't be me. It could be anybody. Mm-hmm. You can have a surgery and then they prescribe you Percocet and now you're hooked.
Yep.
And so what that was telling the story of an addiction that starts off with something small and then it progressively gets worse and worse. What happens in the film is that he gets medically discharged, honorably discharged from the military because of it. Can't say how, but it shows the progression. When he comes home, he's denied benefits. He's fighting for the benefits that he fought for. They refuse to give him certain things. His wife and kid, something happens to them in the film that's catastrophic. He really lands on hard times. His bills can't be paid. I mean, he loses everything. I mean, he's frustrated with society. And for me, it was watching how people treat other people. We've been driving in cars and you see how people are walking around with change and everyone's just like, I give money wherever I can. I don't care who it is because you know what? Tables turn.
Yep.
You never know. That could be me that could be me tomorrow.
Yep.
You're always one decision away from a totally different life. So I am not above anything at all. Anything can happen in your life. You can be a paraplegic tomorrow. So for me, it was humanizing the aspect of telling that story and understanding to put ourselves in their shoes. We walk by those people every day, but they're someone's father, brother, son, you know? So that was important for me. Now, during the film, there's a wealthy CEO named Maxwell Cade who sees Jose Torres, wants to help him. He reminds him of his brother. His brother got sent to Iraq. So there's a lot of tie-ins to that. And then he tries to help him clean his life up, and then the film kind of takes its way.
Gotcha.
So that's what it is. It really is a very powerful story. To me, if I'm being honest, I think this film is better rounded. It's a much better film than Security Guard, only because of not only the cinematography, but the acting, the narratives in it. It's a first narrative film, so a lot of the film is narrated by the main character. I've never done that.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know that. The film is going to premiere in March on Fox Soul. We're working with other networks. We're trying to get it on Peacock. They're fighting me. I mean, I've been fighting with them for 2 years already after they covered the story on NBC. They're just rough. They had a whole shift in the whole media thing. So there was a lot of layoffs with CBS and everything and Paramount taking over. But we're working on a lot of different things. For me, I have to kick that door open because if not, I'll just be on the regular channels that every other independent filmmaker is on. And I can't do that. I got to separate myself from that. And the film is going to drive a different wedge on how we treat those who are less fortunate. It's going to force us to look at ourselves. It's a mirror. I don't know if you remember back in the day. We're old enough to remember this. The Bronx Zoo had an exhibit called The World's Most Dangerous Animal. And it was a mirror.
I've heard of this, yeah.
And that's what it was. They got rid of it because they deemed it to be offensive. It was too much. But
I've heard of this.
That's the reality. That's the reality. We are our own worst enemy. And that is the absolute truth. I am not going to stand here and say, hey, I'm perfect. I am not perfect at all.
Yeah.
But I treat people with compassion and humility. And I think that we should treat everyone, regardless if they're rich, poor, whatever their status is. I don't care what they are. You treat people right. This film is going to trigger a lot of people because the things that they do to him in the film are inhumane.
The film's already wrapped?
The film is in post-production. It's wrapped. We're working. I'm cleaning it up now. We just released the trailer 2, War Edition, which is pretty awesome. I mean, we saw a lot of cool. Did you see it?
I did not.
And we had the jets in there. We had a nice Ferrari. Pretty cool.
Do you feel pressure when telling stories like that to get it right? You know, to give honor to the people who actually live these stories?
The pressure for me is always on to honor them right, make sure the uniforms that I'm displaying are correct, because I know a lot of military men get pissed when they see these films and that's not how we wear our uniform, that's not the right insignia. Yes, with those details, absolutely. Also, the pressure is always on for me to keep leveling up and making each film better and better and better. It's always like, what can I do next to elevate this film? What can I do next to make this film better than last? That's my competition, is me. It's like, all right, well, how can I outdo that film? And how can I make this even stronger? So it does. As I'm elevating and going up and up and up, it's getting harder. And listen, it's challenging, but I think we can do it. And I think that the veteran is going to do very well. I wouldn't make another film if it wasn't better than the last film that I've made, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. Do you remember day one, film one on set?
Yes.
And the feelings that were going through you at that time? And can you talk to that a little bit?
So when I first made my first film, Hilo, we shot it in Shelton, Connecticut, and it was with a different production company. I had no experience. It was 2 guys, and it was rough because I didn't know what I was going to do. It came out to be more of a music video, believe it or not. It was 10 minutes. Hilo was 10 minutes and like 12 seconds. My wife was like, what is this? I'm
It's a
like,
short
listen,
film, babe.
It's a short film. I mean, look, I said visually it's stunning. It looks good. And she's like, this looks like an extended movie trailer. Like, what is this? And listen, I think every filmmaker can attest to that. Like your first time, it's like, all right, well, listen, you're going to get better as long as you keep doing it and you want to grow. The biggest thing for me was taking direction and understanding that I don't know everything. I'm learning I'm still learning today. But I was nervous. I was scared. I was like, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? How are people going to receive this? You know, when you're putting yourself out there, people are going to judge you. People are going to have opinions about what you're doing, even if they're not doing anything with their life. People are going to have opinions. And so for me, I had to like kind of like throw that away and be like, all right, well, it doesn't matter what they think. I'm supposed to do this. So I did that film. My wife was like, dude, that's not the film. Like that's, and then I made the second film, and then she was like, all right, a little bit better. Yeah. My wife is my toughest critic.
Well,
I mean, she's
good.
Yeah, she's always like, I don't know about that. Your sound sounds really bad. You got to fix that. You got to. I would have cut this out. I'm like, why don't you direct? Why don't you just direct? But yeah, I mean, it was challenging. It was very challenging. I was very nervous. I was scared. I didn't know what I was going to do. All the feelings that any first filmmaker or any first creative has. I had doubt, tons of doubt. I still have doubt. Believe it or not, I still go up there and I'm like, all right, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to be portrayed? How am I going to? It's always in me. And I think that's what drives me, is the fear of having that. Because if I feel like I've accomplished everything and I've arrived, then I've failed. So I'm always trying to, okay, well, how did I perceive that? How was that done? At the end of the day, I'm going to make the best film that I can possibly make with the greatest actors in the world, honestly, because they are the ones, again, that create these films and bring these characters that I have in my head on paper to life.
Yep.
And so I'm forever grateful to them. But for me, it's just more of creating something great and everlasting. Like, I want to immortalize myself in film. That's just me. I feel like this is my calling. I've never been more certain about anything else in my life. I've tried to work all those jobs and fit in and do all those things. I was like, that doesn't fulfill me. What fulfills me is filmmaking.
Have you ever considered? Well, let me ask you a different question. If you had a piece of advice to offer a young filmmaker today, given all the experience that you've had so far, what would be the number one piece of advice you'd give to a aspiring filmmaker?
I've been asked this question so many times, but I'm gonna answer it from a different level perspective. I would say to them, you don't need anyone's permission to pursue what you want to do. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. Write your film, make your film, make it with all of your heart and soul, and continue to get better and learn. That's it. It's you don't need expensive equipment. You don't need a fancy film school. You don't need labels. Don't tell your dreams to anyone else. Work in silence and just keep working on your craft. Everyone starts somewhere. I started somewhere. And I just tell people, just be very careful who you let in, because some people who come around you are just there to take from you. That's it. Yeah. I've learned that in business, but keep working. You have to keep working. You have to keep putting out content. You have to keep striving and always watching videos, educating yourself. That's what I still do that to this day. I'm still watching music. You know, I listen to music and I'm like, all right, well, this would be great for a trailer. This would be great for this piece of. And my wife is like, dude, like, can we listen to something else? I'm like, and I'm listening to just trailer music, like theatrical.
Yeah, like lo-fi or
like really slow motion music and giant apes.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
You ever heard them?
Sure
you ever heard of them?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Like, if you listen to that, you're like, what the hell is that? I got to YouTube that.
But you're doing that for a purpose, because you need to be able to fill up your what is it called? The score?
Well, it's the crescendo, the score, all that stuff. So like, the way I create too is weird. I listen to a song and I create to that song. I'm like, okay, I see this moment happening at this second and this, and I start writing it down and driving the editor nuts. He's like, dude, like, what is going on? I'm like, dude, I have to create this. Yesterday I was working on something till midnight for something in March.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what it is. That's just how I am. I'm obsessive. Like,
well, you stay ahead of the game
always,
too a little bit.
Always. I'm always working about, okay, what am I doing the next 4 months? Okay, what am I making the next 4 months? How am I creating this? That's just how you have to stay in the game. And a lot of people can't understand that. And they're just like, how is this guy doing what he's doing? It's because I'm obsessive. I'm misunderstood, and that's okay. I don't want to be understood. That's the point. You know? So it's more of that. But like I said, it's just creating.
I think a lot of it just comes from, for filmmakers specifically, it's like you're just telling your truth and you're telling your story and you have a vision. Like, as you said, your filmmakers are artists, and you're giving your version of what you think these specific situations have done or will do in those scenarios. I think it's not that much different than having dreams. And in your dream, all of these things are happening, and that's your world. That's your reality. And you are blessed enough to be able to put that on paper and then work with some really talented people to be able to then show that to the world. Not a lot of people could show their dreams to the world. Shit, when I wake up in the morning and I forgot what I dreamed about, but it was really fucking awesome. And you're able to then take that, articulate it, and then put it out there to the world and be strong enough to receive the praise and, more importantly, the ridicule that may come along with it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Another thing is, what I tell people is the best feeling in the world, being a filmmaker, is not making the film at all. What people don't realize is it's taking the characters you had in your head, writing them down, and seeing the actors that you're picking and casting portray those characters that you had with just an imagination. Mm-hmm. That is the best experience. That is the best part for me personally. It's like, wow, this character was in my head. No one even knew who this character was, Omari Russell. No one knew who he was. I had him here. I was writing this guy. Who would have thought in 2023, when I had the idea that in 2025 the world would be listening, that character would be all over these news networks and people would be talking about in Facebook groups about how much they love the character, how much it meant to them. I'm like, that means the world to me. I mean, that not money, it's that feeling of people saying, I love that character. He made me feel like that.
And it started up here.
It started here. It just started with a vision. And that's what I tell people. You have to, if you can have it here and you can hold it here and you can show it to the world.
I can imagine that you have a special relationship with your actors.
I love my actors.
Given what we just talked about, how the character starts here, and then meeting, and then finding the person, and then watching them articulate what it is that you have, I guess, created in your head. I imagine that relationship with your actors is extremely important and special to you.
Absolutely, because there's a sense of trust that we have. We've been building this family for many years. Let's talk about Yanko Valentin Perez, who's playing the veteran Jose Torres that you see in the film. I had this image of this guy. I was already like, all right, I watched Forrest Gump. I saw when he was running with the red hat and he had the beard. I immediately, when I saw that, that's
an interesting thought.
I saw Jose Torres in him. Believe it or not, I don't know what it was. I said, well, this is how Jose Torres is going to look. So Yanko and I started working on this. I was like, all right, you're going to wear New Balance. And he started bringing the New Balance and messing them up. He's such an intricate, detailed-oriented actor. I've never seen anyone put as much care and detail into how the character is going to look than he has. And I love that about him. And I can call him up at 4 a.m. and say, Yanko, I have this crazy idea. This is what he's like, all right, let's do it, dude. I'm going to do it. I love that. Like, that's the level of care and relationship that I have with the actors, all of them. And I'm grateful to have that. But they trust me. They trust me with their time. They trust me with the character that I'm giving them. And they go all in. And Lancelot Theobald Jr., who plays Maxwell Kate, he hung around millionaires.
That's the hedge fund guy.
That's the hedge fund guy. Yep. When he was on Bronx.net a little while ago, the host asked him, "What is he an actual millionaire?" And that's the law of attraction. So he calls me up and we're talking about it. I'm like, Lance, that's law of attraction. I said, you are manifesting that.
Yeah.
And it was just incredible to see him work. It was incredible to see all the work from the actors. I love my actors. They're the reason that I do what I do. Filmmaking saved my life. This is not just some pretentious filmmaking experience. This is my life. Like, I tell people, like, I would die making films. Like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I don't care what anyone thinks about me. This is what I love to do. I love to tell these stories. I love to make trailers. I love to just create music with the characters and the scene and how people get immersed in my work. I'm just like, I love that. And hearing people tell me, Will, I love what you're doing. It's amazing. And it's always strangers. It's never people who know you.
No.
You know, we're not going to get into that one, but it's never people who actually know you. It's always the people that you've never met on Instagram that are rooting for you and like, hey, man, commenting. And I have a guy named Visually Blessed on Instagram. He lives in Miami. We've been friends on Instagram since I had Instagram. Never met the guy. He's my biggest fan.
Yeah.
And we speak. He's like, dude, we got to get to work when I come down to New York. That guy supports me through everything. He DMs me every time I put a trailer, anything up. He's like, dude, I am rooting for you. I love it. Those are the type of people you need to be around. And I realize it's okay. I'm not mad at the people who don't support me.
No, of course not.
You have to. Eventually they will, but I don't do it for that. I do it because of the love of filmmaking. Like, when I tell people, like, cinema is my life, it is my life. It's all I think about. My wife is like, you don't stop talking about film. Like, we're going to go on vacation and you're going to talk about film. And we watch a movie and I pause it and I'm cutting and I'm like, nope, they messed up. Look, she's like, God. You know,
what's the end goal? What's the ultimate? aspiration? Do you have like a physical, tangible goal, or is it just to continue to live your purpose by continuing to put out films?
So the goal for me, I'm not going to continue to make films just to make them. I'm veteran is 7 films in 7 years. The goal is 10.
Okay.
After the 10th film, I'm going to see where I'm at in my life. I think for me, what's next is working for Lionsgate as a big-time director or one of these big studios, Miramax. And I want to also make my documentary about my life. And everything, the untold story about everything. It's a tell-all. A lot of people are going to find out things they never knew about me. And I think that's going to take me about 2 years to make because I have to really dive in. I'm going to go back to where I grew up. It's going to be my own documentary.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be huge. So after the 10th film, the documentary, definitely. And by then, I'll be working for Miramax, Lionsgate.
One of these bills.
Oh, 100%. It's going to happen.
Awesome.
It's 100%. 10 films in 10 years.
That's awesome.
No budget, no sponsors, no investors. Just a kid from the Bronx with a prayer and a dream. That's it.
I want to. I saw something really cool on your Instagram, and it was a video from Bret the Hitman Hart,
Oh,
and he was giving you such praise. How did you end up? How did you end up getting on Bret the Hitman Hart's radar? That I guess he sent you that video, or
No.
was that on his IG? Like, how did that happen?
So my good friend and cast member, Michael D. Simone, who I love dearly, who plays Dalton Pierce, one of the hedge fund partners in The Veteran, we were filming. We have just wrapped with The Veteran, and he's like, hey, you know, he's a big wrestling fan. He goes, hey, Will, like, I have a big surprise for you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, Mike. I met Mike on the set of Security Guard, the last film, and we just became very close. We became like best friends, honestly. And he's like, I have something for you. So he comes over to my house. He's like, look, I want you to open this. I'm like, Mike, listen, because I'm a big cologne guy. I'm thinking he got me a bottle of cologne.
Okay.
We love cologne. Like, that's my
Yeah.
thing. And I'm always getting him into fragrances. And he's like, no, open this up. So I open it up, and it's a Funko Pop of Bret Hart. And then I turn around, and it's signed by Bret Hart. And then he goes, hold on, scans the code, and Bret comes up. So he paid Bret to write a message, and he reached out to him. I guess he emailed, and Bret didn't even want the money. He's like, no, I'm going to send it back. Signed, he sent him back the money.
Did he know Bret the Hitman Hart?
No, he reached out. I don't know how. Mike is very resourceful. He's helped me get. We shot in the Chrysler Building for The Veteran. He made that happen, not me.
Really?
So Mike has been helping me a lot through the film. So thank you to Mike for that. And that was awesome, man, to hear Bret say that. And people thought it was AI. I said, this is not AI. That is Bret the Hitman Hart. That was the best feeling in the world. It was one of the best gifts. I've never had a cast member do that for me. So that was very special. So thank you, Mike, for that. And yeah, I mean, I love Bret growing up, man. The Montreal Screwjob. Come on, we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, Shawn Michaels was my villain, and
He
Bill
was the heel.
Goldberg,
He was the heel.
Goldberg.
He was the heel.
Yes.
So do you prefer Bret the Hitman Hart on the Hart Foundation, or do you prefer him as a solo?
I'll be honest, I love Bret as a solo, but I think Owen was really good too.
Owen was amazing.
Owen was very underrated.
Very, very unfortunate what happened to Owen.
Yes. He died in 1999 over the edge as the Blue Blazer. I will never forget it.
Yeah, listen, I was a big wrestling fan growing up too. I was more of like a Hulkamaniac, Mega Powers, versus the Mega Bucks. Like that was like my sort of prime. And as I've gotten older, I've come to really appreciate Macho Man a lot more. Like I didn't realize
Macho Man Randy Savage.
I didn't realize how amazing his promos were and how amazing his character was.
Did you ever see his documentary about how much he hated Hulk Hogan?
I've seen various documentaries. I don't know if I've specifically.
It's on YouTube. It's called like Rivals. He really hated him.
And was it because of Elizabeth?
Yeah, he blamed him for the divorce. It was a lot of. I know you love Hulk Hogan, but he's a villain in a lot of people's stories.
Yes, he's a heel.
Bret
he was
hated him. Listen, and I love Hulk Hogan. I thought he was a great entertainer, not a great wrestler. And I also thought that with Hulk Hogan, like, listen, he is my childhood. I used to watch Suburban Commando, Mr. Nanny.
Oh, wow.
Right? We're going back,
I skipped those. Yeah, I skipped those. After No Holds Barred, I stopped watching movies that he was in.
Yeah. But I think Undertaker was even in one of them, right? He was like one of the taxi drivers, and he was like tossing Hulk Hogan around.
He might have been.
Zeus was in there.
Zeus was in. No Holds Barred, I remember very well. Zeus was in there.
Undertaker was in one of them where he was tossing Hulk Hogan. I forgot which one that was. Mr. Nanny, probably.
No Holds Barred was cool because Zeus was also introduced as a wrestler at the same exact time, and they rolled out the movie premiere along with Zeus as a character on.
And it worked.
It worked. I remember. Hogan was going for a steel cage match. I don't remember who he was going to fight, but Zeus came out first and wouldn't let him in the steel cage. It was on like a Saturday Night's Main Event. taping.
Yeah.
But going back to your point about Hulk Hogan, listen, I tell people this. My thing is, I was a huge fan, and I still am, of Hulk Hogan. Who he was personally, and him being a villain, and all these people hating him. Listen, Terry Bollea, I think that's his full name.
Yeah.
I was a kid. Hulk Hogan was my childhood, and nobody's going to take that away from me. You're not going to come into me and PC away from my childhood. Right. All of those moments, like, dude, like I off the top turnbuckle, the leg drop, like all that stuff. You can't take that away, man.
Listen, I will tell you this: my favorite match with him of all time is the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah,
because that was split. That was a split crowd.
Mm-hmm. That was WrestleMania 6. That was 6.
Jim
and
Hellwig
it started. But think about this: that started at the Royal Rumble when the two of them were there, the last two people in the ring.
Yeah.
That's where it started. And they did the crisscross and the back and forth, and then they had the double double clothesline.
They had the hands up.
It was weird because, growing up, I didn't realize what a heel was. I just knew that there were people that we didn't like.
Right.
Now, as an adult, I'm like, oh, wow, they made them into a heel. But both of them were not heels. They were both loved by so many people.
They call them baby faces.
That's what it is, baby face.
And heels, yeah. So he was... Yeah, Hulk Hogan was very influential in what he did. I mean, I think he was the first one to pave the way for like film, a wrestler going from a wrestler and an actor. He did that. Rock did that. John Cena followed that.
Yep.
Batista followed that.
Now it's not uncommon.
But he was the one he did that first.
If I remember correctly, McMahon didn't want him to film.
So he was
Rocky
fired.
He was fired.
So basically, Vince McMahon Sr. told him, if you make the movie, I'm firing you. He said, I'm still going to go do it.
Yeah.
Glad he did it.
Of
Thunder
course.
Lips.
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah.
He was great. I love that.
But also Mr. T. Well, Mr. T probably wasn't working for WWF at that time. He was
very hard to work with. They said Mr. T was I watched a lot of the documentaries. He was very difficult to work with, but Stallone and him had a great relationship.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen. Clubber Lang was his character. Hey, why don't you come over and see what a real man will do?
Hey, boy. Yeah. I'll tell you what I love about the Rocky 3 and all the. I love Sylvester Stallone's suits. I'm a suit guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he has like the nice tie, and it's like punched up with the metal bar. Mm-hmm. You don't see that anymore.
No, not at all.
That's classy. That's like, if you watch Rocky 3 and look at all of Stallone's suits, it's amazing, like how his suits look. I mean, it looks better than the suits they have today.
Yeah. Well, listen, those movies, and if I remember correctly, Rocky, the original Rocky, Stallone was offered, I think it was like $250,000. He was dead broke. So thinking about this, like from your perspective, right, being an independent filmmaker, Stallone was an independent. Well, he was an independent filmmaker, but he had this script that he wrote, and he wanted to be in it, and I believe he wanted to produce it.
He wanted to star in it, and MGM told him no. They wanted to buy it off him. He sold his dog
for like $250,000. Yeah,
couldn't feed the dog.
So that story, and then look what it turned out. So like, God knows where you're going to end up if you just continue holding on to that.
Well, you got to continue to pound the pavement. My destiny's already written. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I know my work ethic. I can control that, and I'm going to work insane, and I'm working harder than ever. And so for me, it's people like Stallone, and I look at that, and I'm like, well, he did it. Mm-hmm. Why can't I do it? And it's actually easier for us to do it now.
Well, because there's way more resources.
It's more resource. He did it. It was actually harder when they did it.
Of course.
He's going to the studio with paper, like, hey, look.
Well, I tell people that about business too, right? Like back in the day, it was a lot harder to grow your business because you didn't have social media where you can make a really cool video and put it out and thousands of people are going to see it. You had to go door to door or call people. You didn't have the, even before emails, like it's so much harder back then. And now people waste those resources. People waste all of the time, just what is it called? Doom scrolling on social media instead of using it for better, for moving their vision forward.
Right, yeah. Well, it's like,
and it's a shame.
It's like calling CBS New York. Every time I call them, they're sick of me. They want nothing to do with me. They're like, Mr. La Salle, you're calling us again? I say, you know it.
Do you have a dream actor to work with? Actor, actress?
Stallone.
Oh yeah,
Stallone. It's got to be Stallone. I'm dying to meet Stallone, man. He doesn't understand what he gave me. You know, I still, like I said, I watch those Rocky moments. I just go on YouTube and just watch that scene with Adrian. I watch the scene where
can't win.
Well, that's in Rocky 3. That's my second favorite when he has his son.
No, I thought that was 4.
No. Well, that was 4, but so Rocky 3, he has his son.
Yeah.
And she says, there's one thing I want you to do for me. And she goes, come here. And she goes, win.
Yes. That was when, but she was scared to death of Ivan Drago, and she said, "You can't win. He's a murderer."
Imagine your wife telling you can't win.
Yeah. So, and Big Pun on one of his songs on Capital Punishment, just going back to our Bronx roots, right?
I know Capital
Punishment. He's
on
one of his songs. They replay that. You can't win.
That's right.
Yeah, they use that as a...
It's just powerful in itself. I mean, to have your wife tell you that she doesn't believe in you, it's powerful. It's hard. I could relate to that. So that hits a very close nerve to me.
Mm-hmm. What does failure scare you? Like if you don't succeed?
No. What scares me is not trying. What scares me is going back and saying, I wish I woulda, coulda done that. I wish I would have worked harder. Right? I can't control the resources I have access to, but what I can control is my work ethic and how hard I'm going to work. And I always tell people, like, they think I'm crazy when I say this, and they're like, man, this guy's full of himself. But no one will ever outwork me. Like, no one. And I mean that. Like, there is no other filmmaker out here that will ever outwork Wilfred La Salle. I mean, to the bone. You're talking about 3,000 emails a day. You're talking about getting up at 3:30 in the morning, going running like a psychopath in the middle of Mount Vernon. You're talking about going to the gym at 5 in the morning, writing in his journal, praying. My routine is insane, you know. And listen, unless someone can do that and do more of what I'm doing, you won't see it because they don't want it. Not because they can't do it, because they don't want it. They want things to be handed to them. Nothing's been handed to me. So that, to me, the regret is not going after what I was meant to do. We only get one life. I don't know how many years I have left. I'll be 40 next month. And so I don't know how many more summers, how many more winters, how many more sunrises, how many more sunsets I have. So that in itself, there has to be a sense of urgency. And it kills me when I see people who walk around here that I'll do it tomorrow. And that's where Rocky comes in. There is no tomorrow. It's now. And I hate people make excuses of why they can't do things. I'm like, dude, I am 39 years old, okay? I am making films with no money. I have faced the biggest adversities. I've been betrayed. I've been rejected. I've been fired. I've been through it all. And homeless. I lived in the projects, one pair of sneakers for 5 years, mother on public assistance. Don't tell me what can't be done. I am living proof and the embodiment of what can happen if you work hard. So I have no excuses and no time for people who make excuses of why they can't do something. I don't have the money. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I work 2 jobs just to make my dreams happen. I was working 2 jobs just to fund my films. Make it happen.
Yep.
If you want, make it happen. Oh, they go the GoFundMe route. Okay, cool. All right, but that's not doing anything. Do the work. And that's what I tell people. Like, you have to do it. Like, if there are 1,000 other people who want what you have, what are you going to do? You have to outwork every single one of them.
Yep.
That's it. There's no shortcut. People are like, Will, what's the shortcut? What's the recipe? I'm like, hard work. Get up and work.
How do you keep that mindset? Do you have like a go-to? Like for me personally, like I listen to a lot of Goggins. I listen to a lot of E.T., the hip hop E.T., Eric Thomas. I listen to, and lately, honestly, people might not agree with this, but like there is a really interesting subset of Andrew Tate online, like motivational stuff, where he's just kind of straight to the point. Like those keep me in balance. Do you have a similar sort of?
It's almost the same thing. So I don't know if you ever heard of Motiversity.
Of course, yeah.
That's what I listen to. I'm locked every morning. There's a new video.
Yep.
And I listen to Motiversity. So it's funny you mentioning that. Eric Thomas, David Goggins, Joe Rogan, all of those guys.
Yeah.
That's what I listen to. If you type that in, I literally every day I'm like, all right, this one to be mindset, this one to be this, this one to be that.
Yep.
That is literally what drives me. But see, you lose motivation.
Yes.
People don't realize you lose motivation. It's not motivation that keeps me in the game. It's discipline. It's, okay, that guy's going to do that. Okay, I got to work harder than him. He's coming for me.
Yep.
I'm obsessive in the sense of it's just there.
That thought process right there, though, I have to continuously. So, like you talked a lot about your morning routine. So I'm up a little bit later than you. I usually get up around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
First thing I do is I head to the gym. On the way to the gym, I'm there listening. The first 7 minutes or so, I throw on. I pop open YouTube, and they know me so well. Thanks, Google. It's a prayer. Right?
Right.
So, and I'm listening to God's word. And then the last 7 to 14 minutes of whatever going to the gym, I immediately go into one of those Motiversity videos or one of those things where it's just like, listen, you have to beat everybody. You have to wake up before everybody else. You have to be, it gives me, I'm priming my brain for now pushing it to the physical limits in the gym. And I feel like people don't understand, like, there's a phrase that like the where you're going to be in 10 years is dictated by the 5 people you hang around with the most and the books that you're reading.
Absolutely.
And what you're subconsciously, I try to make Instagram and all these social medias work for me instead of letting them force upon me their habits. So I'm constantly unfollowing people. I'm constantly muting people. I'm constantly not interested. And I feel like you and I are very similar in that regard.
Very similar. And that's why, Steven, you're very successful, because you have that mind. You get it. You have the tick.
Yeah.
You understand? You have it. You understand the mission. And a lot of people don't. You have prayer. You put God first before anything. I don't care what anyone believes in. God is first.
Yep.
None of this happens without God.
Yep.
That's number one. Number two, you have the drive. You know that how important it is to have a healthy body, a healthy mind. All of that comes together in one. And so that is the recipe for success. So you, my friend, are the exemplary of greatness. So thank you to you. And we need more people like you doing that.
Well, I think that by you and I getting together and talking about this and putting this out there, just the more you talk about it, the more people are going to hear it.
Right.
So if I'm constantly telling people, like, that meme that's like, fuck around, hang out with me, I might force you to be the best version of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's like me to a degree. Like, I could be sitting there talking with my boy.
You must be a Sagittarius. Are you a Sagittarius?
Nah, I'm a Leo, man.
He's a Leo. Oh, Leo,
King
man.
of the jungle.
Leo, that's
King
right.
of the jungle.
What's that, August, July?
August 19th, 1981, baby.
Go, man. My wife and I, our first date was August 16th, 2016.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so here's what I'd like you to do. This is your camera right here. I want you to just tell people how to get in touch with you. Any last messages that you want to leave for the people who are going to see this. So
the way you guys can get in touch with me is by email. It's will@LaSalleProductions.com, or you can email wilfredlasalle@gmail.com. I just want to let everyone know, I always say this, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's something I live by. You turn the negatives into positives. And so I'm going to tell you that impossible, if you separate the word, means I'm possible. Rejection is redirection. And no just means numerous opportunities. Stay working, stay safe, keep working. I'll see you at work.
Dude, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, this has been another episode of the Padernacht Podcast, Brick by Brick. And make sure you go out and see some of Will's videos, man. They're really, really, really...
Thank you.
I think that I haven't seen any yet, but I'm going to go check it out.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And big shout out to Claudio here in Caillie Visions. None of this would be possible without my man. Take care, everybody.